Literature and Literacy, written and narrated by Simpson. What is literacy? The text Literacy, Reading, Writing and Children's Literature, written by Holiday and other authors, describes the notion of literacy as complex and dynamic, in which is consistently adapted to reflect the changing needs of society. The Cambridge University Press defines literacy as the ability to read and write and to also have basic skills and knowledge of a subject. Why is literacy important? The Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority, also known as ACARA, states how students develop their knowledge and skills in literacy, thus becoming literate as they listen to, read, view, speak, write, and create oral, print, visual, and digital texts. As technology becomes more prevalent in our society, Walsh states the importance of developing students' skills and knowledge of multimodal literacy through the integration of print-based literacy with digital communicative learning. ACARA further explains how literacy is essential in the development of a student's ability to interpret and use language for learning purposes, and to also participate productively in a society. What is literature? The word literature is derived from the Latin litera, meaning letters, with reference to the written word. ACARA defines literature as a dynamic resource for the evolving practices and experiences of language and literacy in the 21st century. The Cambridge University Press defines literature as a written artistic work, especially one of high lasting value, in which is similar to that provided by Holiday and other authors, in which is most relevant for the use within this presentation. Why is literature important? In general, the text Growing Up with Literature, written by Sawyer in 2012, describes how literature creates a positive sense of self, develops connections between all of the people in the world, in turn building on an individual's acceptance of others, and establishing appreciation, value, and understanding of the world in which we all share. Holiday and other authors justify the importance of fictional and factual literature as they broaden understandings of time and place, cultural ideas and practices of people and events. The importance of children's literature is identified by Holiday and other authors as children's literature has emphasis on visual techniques such as words and images, in which pictures of many cultures, their clothes, food, houses, transport, and schools are graphically portrayed in contemporary ways. Crippen explains how children's literature provides them with opportunities to respond to literature, giving appreciation of their own culture as well as those of others. The societal importance. Dewey acknowledges the way in which literature has changed and evolved as it is used as a medium to express ideas, thoughts, and aspirations of a society. Sawyer explains how the development of interests and attitudes towards literature creates competent students and thoughtful adults as participating members of society. ACARA outlines the creative and critical use of literature within an educational setting, engaging students with texts from Australian or other cultures, allowing them to reflect on what these texts offer them as an individual, as members of Australian society, and as citizens of the world. In conclusion, literature shapes the values and understandings of individuals and of societies. Literature creates connections within oneself, connections between all people around the world, and connections to the world in which we share. Literature enables people to acquire the personal skills of communication, literacy, appreciation, acceptance, and tolerance, in which are crucial values when participating as a member of a society and contributing to the world as a global citizen. This is How We Do It by Matt Lamoth. In This Is How We Do It, written and illustrated by Matt Lamoth, published by Chronicle Books in 2017, is a visual documentary of one day in the lives of 7 children around the world. The children are from varying ages, backgrounds, locations, genders, and cultures. The book describes the different elements of the children's lives: what they eat during the day, how they get to school, what they do in the evening, where they sleep. The book portrays diversity through the range of characters and the apparent differences in their days through illustrated settings and textual structure, while shared rhythmic narrative of each day within a world we all share creates a sense of unity. The analytical categories shown in the book are characterization, structure, visuals, and illustrations. The first page in the book is a world map, marked with the locations of each character around the globe, including the author himself. Each character is textually identified with their name, city, and country, whilst visual connections are made through illustrated portraits, and each individual's countries are highlighted in orange. The book follows on, introducing each character, identifying their country, name, what nickname they go by, and their age. Lamoth has depicted a diverse array of characters with differing backgrounds, cultures, ethnicity, and gender, yet has illustrated each child of similar size and positioned them centered within their own sections, creating a sense of balance and visual equality. Structure. The flow of the book paints the narrative structure of the day, starting at home with "This is where I live" and "This is who I live with," followed by the morning ritual of school. "This is what I wear to school. This is what I eat for breakfast." Followed by the events of a day at school. "This is how I go to school. This is my teacher. This is how we learn. This is how I spell my name. This is what I eat for lunch." The book follows with the evening rituals at home after a day at school. "This is how I play. This is how I help. This is how we eat dinner. This is what I do in the evening. And this is where I sleep." The concluding image of the narrative is the night sky. The words "This is my night sky" do not belong to any one character or any one country. The illustration is not broken into compartments. It is a whole, singular image, implying that we all share the same night sky. Each child's day is compartmentalized in its own small boundary, consistently labeled by country. This technique shows the diversity of culture, background, and ethnicity in each child's life. However, the subtle colors used as backdrops almost blend in, creating a flow between these differences and creating one big image out of many small ones. Another analytical category is visuals and illustrations. The vacant visual space around each "This is how" heading allows children to imagine their own aspect of life slotted into the book, right next to all of the other children. This technique not only gives insight to the perspective of diversity of other children, it also lets children apply that same diversity to their own lives, distinguishing differences whilst incorporating themselves, acknowledging a connection. This technique provides a window for children to experience literary concepts through visual and illustrative interactions. It is these experiences in which children develop self-image, cultural acceptance, and a connection to the world. Lamoth is both the author and the illustrator of This Is How We Do It. One of the final pages of the book is a collage of photos of the characters and their families taken by Lamoth on his journeys across the globe. This allows children to understand the element of real life in which they previously engaged in. The illustrations throughout the book manifest on a deeper level, as the photographs allow actualization of each life depicted throughout. This Is How We Do It is a piece of literature for children in between the ages of 4 and 11 years old. According to Sawyer, children strive for meaning. Therefore, children's literature is aimed at providing just this, an understanding of how things work, knowledge on how people respond to them, and figuring out what control they have over their environment. Lamotte's use of characterization allows children to self-actualize and develop a positive self-image, whilst understanding the diversity of others. Lamotte's use of structure allows children to understand the diversity of different culture, backgrounds, and ethnicity throughout the differences in food, clothing, transport, housing, and even sleeping arrangements. Lamotte's use of visual and illustration allows children to imaginatively participate in the book, mentally inserting their own aspects of life. Realistic illustrations, photographs, and maps aid in a child's conceptualization of the world and their connection to other people. The values presented within this piece of literature develop positive attitudes towards a child's own culture and the cultures of others, in which Crippen states are necessary for both social and personal development throughout life. Keeping in mind Holiday and other authors' perspective of literature as a past or present text across varied cultural contexts, valued in a form or style that are dynamic and evolving with personal, cultural, and social value that enriches lives and scopes of experience. I believe Lamotte's illustrated documentary is classed as an informative piece of children's literature, providing a colorful insight into diversity.